It started with a message I shouldn't have answered. Not because I was hiding anything. Not because it was wrong, at least not then. Just because it woke something up. Something I didn't even know had gone to sleep. My name's Kevin. I'm 45. Married to Kate for over 20 years. We've got 2 kids, Lily's 18 and headed off to college in the fall. Owen's 15, quiet and always glued to a screen. We live in Indiana, just outside of Fort Wayne. I work in procurement for a packaging company. Been there 17 years. Solid job. Benefits. A desk by the window. The kind of thing people say you should be grateful for. Kate teaches middle school English. She's good at it. Patient, thoughtful. We had a decent rhythm. Monday was pasta night. Friday we did takeout and watched a movie if the kids weren't out. Saturdays I usually did the yard work, had a beer in the garage, and listened to old Springsteen albums on the radio. That kind of life. I wasn't miserable. I wasn't thrilled either. Just stuck in neutral, coasting. I didn't really notice it until that message popped up. Her name was Danielle. It was a Facebook message. Midweek. I was on my lunch break, half scrolling and half watching some YouTube video about fixing leaky sinks. I saw the name in the message request tab and just froze. Danielle Richards. High school. Class of 96. She was the kind of girl everyone knew, but not in the cheerleader way. She was smart. Had this sarcastic wit. Always reading something heavier than whatever the English teacher assigned. I sat behind her in chemistry. Had a dumb crush I never said a word about. I figured she was going places and I was just trying not to flunk bio. We hadn't talked in nearly 30 years. I opened the message. Hey Kevin. I saw your name on someone's post and thought, wow, haven't seen that in ages. Hope this isn't weird. Just wanted to say hi, smiley face. That smiley face like it was nothing. Like she hadn't just stirred up a whole drawer full of memories I didn't even know I still had. I didn't answer right away. Closed the app. Finished my sandwich. Stared out the window at the parking lot until it was time to go back in. But that night, after everyone had gone to bed, I opened it again. Read it twice. Then I typed back. Hey Danielle. Not weird at all. Good to hear from you. That's how it started. We messaged on and off over the next few days. Just catching up. What we'd been up to. Where we'd ended up. She'd gotten divorced a few years back. No kids. Lived in Cincinnati now. Freelance graphic designer. Said she worked mostly from home and sometimes it got quiet enough that she missed having coworkers to talk to. I told her about Kate, the kids, my job. Gave her the sanitized version like you do. Yeah, things are good. Busy. You know how it is. She said she was glad to hear that. And I was glad to hear from her. Genuinely. It didn't feel dangerous. It didn't feel like anything, really. Just like finding an old photo you forgot you took. Except we kept talking. And the messages started getting longer. Then it wasn't just Facebook. It was email. Then texts. Then late-night texts. Kate noticed, of course. One night she asked, "Who's that you're always messaging?" I shrugged. Old friend from high school. Just catching up. She nodded, not suspicious. Not then. I think she wanted to believe it was nothing. Hell, I wanted to believe it too. But that part of me, the part one thought was long buried under mortgage payments and school events and routine, was wide awake now. And Danielle kept asking things no one had asked me in years. Like, are you happy? And I realized I didn't know how to answer that. Not truthfully. Not without risking everything. I didn't tell anyone we planned to meet. I don't think I even let myself believe it was real until I was halfway there, car humming down the highway with the radio off and my thoughts louder than the tires on the pavement. It was a Saturday. I told Kate I had to go look at a property. One of our suppliers was selling some equipment, something vague like that. She didn't ask questions. Just said, be safe, and handed me a thermos of coffee. Danielle picked the place. A small cafe near the university in Dayton. Not a chain. One of those quiet spots with old books on the shelves and chalkboard menus. She said she liked it because no one rushed you out. I got there 10 minutes early. Sat in the car and stared at the door like it might change its mind. My hands were sweating on the steering wheel. I checked the mirrors. Straightened my collar. Told myself it wasn't anything. Just 2 people catching up. She walked in at exactly 10. Same face, just older. That sharpness in her eyes was still there, softened maybe, but not gone. She smiled when she saw me and something in my chest clenched. We hugged. Quick but close. Familiar. And that was the first moment where I felt the line shift. We talked for hours. About high school. About books. About jobs that drained you in ways you couldn't explain. She asked me what I thought about most when I couldn't sleep. I didn't know how to answer that, so I said, I don't usually think. I just stare at the ceiling. She said she did too. I told her Kate and I were fine. That was the word I used. Fine. She raised an eyebrow. Fine's not a feeling, she said. I laughed, but it stuck in my head. We didn't talk about seeing each other again. We didn't need to. We both knew we would. Before I left, we walked a few blocks down the street. She stopped at a used bookstore, looked in the window. Then she turned and said, I had a crush on you back then, you know? I thought she was joking. I laughed, but she didn't. I used to wait for you to talk to me, she said. You never did. I said, I didn't think you noticed me. I did, she said. I still do. I didn't kiss her. I didn't touch her. But something crossed over right there. I drove home and walked through the front door like nothing happened. Kate was folding laundry on the couch. She looked up. How was the drive? Long, I said. She nodded. Dinner's in the oven. I kissed her cheek. She smiled a little, distracted. I helped set the table. We ate in silence while Owen talked about some video game. Lily didn't come down. Said she had a paper to finish. Later that night, lying in bed, Kate asleep next to me, I checked my phone. One message from Danielle. Glad we did this. I stared at it for a long time. Typed, me too. That was the line. Not the meeting. Not the coffee. That message. Because once you cross it, there's no walking it back. No pretending it was just curiosity. From that point on, something in me started slipping loose. And part of me didn't want to stop it. After that day, I couldn't stop thinking about her. Not in a lusty high school crush way. It was quieter than that. Slower. Like a song you forget you knew the words to. But somehow it's back in your head and you find yourself humming it while you're doing the dishes. Danielle and I started texting every day. Little things at first. This song made me think of you? Or, remember when Mrs. Kelser used to throw erasers at people? Then it was deeper. Regrets. Missed chances. Things we'd never said to anyone else. Or maybe just hadn't said in a long time. At night, I'd sit in the living room, phone glowing in my hand, waiting for the next message. Kate would be on the other side of the couch, grading papers, the TV playing in the background. Some nights she'd reach over and squeeze my arm or ask me how work was going. I'd smile, say, busy, and go right back to my screen. She didn't press. I don't think she wanted to know. And honestly, neither did I, not really. Because once you name something, you have to deal with it. As long as I kept it in this hazy space, I could pretend it wasn't anything. Just words. Just a friend. Just a tired guy remembering who he used to be. Then Danielle sent a photo. Just a mural on a brick wall she'd passed. An old tree, roots tangled into a bench, a fox reading a book underneath. She wrote, "Made me think of you." That stopped me cold. Not because it was anything big. Because it was small, thoughtful, personal. I couldn't remember the last time anyone sent me something like that just because. I wrote back, "That's kind of perfect." We started talking on the phone after that. Late at night, when Kate had gone to sleep, I'd sneak out to the garage and call Danielle. I told myself it was better than doing it inside the house. Like the distance made it more honest. We'd talk for an hour, sometimes more. About music. About how weird it is to be our age and feel like life just happened without us noticing. She said she felt like she'd spent a decade underwater. I said I wasn't even sure when I stopped wanting things. She said, "That's the saddest thing I've ever heard." I didn't argue. A few weeks later, I told Kate I had another out-of-town supplier thing. Drove back down to Dayton. Danielle didn't suggest coffee this time. She just said, "Come over." Her apartment was small, clean. Light poured in through these big windows. She had jazz playing low on an old turntable. She poured me a drink and sat next to me on the couch. We didn't talk much. She kissed me first, and I didn't stop her. It wasn't wild or desperate. It wasn't like the movies. It was slow, quiet, familiar. Like we'd done it before in another life and were just catching up. After, we sat in silence. Just her hand resting on my leg, the record still spinning. I got home around midnight. Kate was asleep. Her book open on the bed beside her, lamp still on. I turned it off and got in without brushing my teeth. The next morning, she made pancakes. Asked if I'd seen the college brochures Lily left out. I nodded, drank my coffee, and barely heard a word she said, because I wasn't there anymore. Not really. Something in me had shifted, slipped, and I didn't know how to pull it back. I wish I could say I felt guilty. I didn't. Not at first. There was this weird calm that settled in after that night at Danielle's. Like I'd finally scratched an itch I'd been ignoring for 20 years. I drove home in silence, hands steady on the wheel, the road humming under me like nothing had changed. But everything had. Danielle didn't text me that night. She didn't have to. It wasn't about what we'd done, it was about what it meant. We'd both stepped over the edge and now we were somewhere new. Unspoken, but understood. Back home, everything was normal. Kate didn't suspect a thing. She still packed my lunch. Still left sticky notes on the bathroom mirror when she left early, pick up milk, or don't forget Owen's dentist appointment. I went through the motions. Played the part. But underneath, I felt like I was watching myself from the outside. Just a guy playing husband. We kept it going, me and Danielle. Once a week, sometimes more. Always under the same excuse. Out-of-town supplier issue. Inventory problem. Late meeting. I was careful. Not perfect, but careful. And Danielle, she never pushed. She never asked me to leave my family. Never made promises or talked about the future. She just made space for me. Kept her fridge stocked with my favorite beer. Saved a spot on the couch like it was mine. Sometimes I'd leave something behind, a book, a shirt. She never said a word about it. Next time I came, it was there, waiting. At home, I was slipping. Kate noticed, in her quiet way. One night over dinner, she said, "You've been distant lately." I shrugged. Just work. She didn't buy it. I could see it in her eyes. But she didn't push. Maybe she didn't want to hear it out loud. Maybe she hoped it would pass. Then it all cracked. It was a Thursday. Kate had a school event. Owen was sleeping over at a friend's. Lily was out with her boyfriend. Danielle texted, "Come over." No excuses. Just that. I was already halfway there when I replied. We ordered pizza. Drank wine. She fell asleep on the couch, head on my shoulder. For a second, it felt like I lived there. Like this was the life I'd picked instead of the one I'd built. At 11:30, my phone buzzed. "Kate, you still at work?" Tried calling. I stared at it. Danielle woke up, looked at me, saw my face, and said, "Go." No drama. No questions. I sped home. Pulled into the driveway a little after midnight. Lights were still on. Kate was sitting in the living room. No TV. No book. Just her, arms crossed, staring at the door. "Where were you?" "Work ran late." She stood. Walked over. Looked at me. "You smell like perfume." That stopped me. I must have. She held up a hand. "Don't lie." I didn't say anything. She walked past me. Up the stairs. Left me standing there like a kid caught cheating on a test. Next morning, everything was quiet. We made coffee, folded laundry, acted like the night before hadn't happened. But the silence between us? It was different now. Thicker. Heavier. Like something waiting to break. It didn't blow up right away. That was the strangest part. After Kate caught the scent of perfume and called me out, I figured it would all unravel right then and there. That she'd scream, throw something, demand answers. But she didn't. She just pulled away, slow and steady, like someone backing out of a room that's starting to fill with smoke. For a few days, we pretended nothing had happened. We talked about Owen's math grade, Lily's college applications, groceries, the weather, all the usual things couples talk about when they're trying not to talk about what matters. Then I came home one evening and she was at the kitchen table, laptop open, phone in hand. She didn't look angry. She looked resolved. She said, "Who's Danielle?" And that was it. I didn't lie. Not this time. I said, "Someone from high school." "I know that much," she said. "You've been texting her for months." I checked the phone bill. "You talk to her more than you talk to me." I didn't have anything to say to that. She asked, "Are you sleeping with her?" And I nodded. That was the end of it. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just said, "I want you to leave." I asked, "What about the kids?" "We'll figure it out," she said. "But you can't stay here." So I packed a bag. Jeans. A few shirts. My toothbrush. I didn't know where else to go, so I went to Danielle's. She opened the door and just stood there for a second like she didn't quite believe it. I said, "Kate knows." She stepped aside to let me in. That first night, I slept on her couch. It wasn't awkward. It wasn't romantic. It was just quiet. I lay there staring at the ceiling, thinking about Owen's science fair project, about the way Lily used to leave post-it notes on the fridge when she was little, "I love you, Daddy," in crayon. I didn't sleep much. The next morning, Danielle made coffee. She didn't ask a lot of questions. She just handed me a mug and said, "So this is real now, huh?" I nodded. Back at Kate's, things went into legal mode fast. She texted me a few days later, "I'm hiring a lawyer." I wrote back, "Do we have to do this through lawyers?" She replied, "You made that choice?" And maybe she was right. I saw Owen that Saturday. Picked him up for the afternoon. He didn't say much. Just stared out the window while I drove. At Danielle's place, he barely touched his lunch. Said he didn't feel good and asked to go home early. Lily didn't respond to my texts at all. At work, people noticed. I started showing up late. Looked like hell. My boss pulled me aside after a meeting and said, "Everything all right at home?" I said, "Just going through some stuff." He nodded. "Well, get through it." Danielle tried to make the best of it. She cooked. She played records. She acted like this could be something good. But something between us had changed too. It wasn't an affair anymore. It was real life now. Bills. Groceries. My stuff in her bathroom. And I could feel her watching me, trying to read my silences. One night, she asked, "Are you happy?" And I just sat there. Same way I had at that coffee shop months earlier. Only this time I knew the answer. I wasn't anything. Just a man who'd set fire to his whole life and now had nowhere to sit except the ashes. The divorce moved fast. Kate didn't waste time. She had a lawyer within a week. Sent over the paperwork without a word. Everything was spelled out: custody, assets, who got what and when. No room for discussion. I read it in Danielle's kitchen while she washed dishes. She didn't ask to see it. Just kept the water running and the music low, like none of it was real if we didn't talk about it. I got every other weekend with Owen. Nothing from Lily, she still wouldn't answer my texts. Kate wanted the house, the SUV, the dog. I kept my car, some savings, and a few boxes of clothes. I didn't fight her on anything. Didn't have the energy. Danielle asked once, "You're just letting her take everything?" I said she earned it. She didn't ask again. I moved out of her place a few weeks later. Not because we fought. We didn't. It just got quiet. I started sleeping on the couch more, said it was work stress. Started booking hotel rooms on nights I didn't need to. Told her I had travel coming up. Said I needed space. She saw through it. Didn't say much. One night, she sat across from me on the couch, legs tucked under her, holding a mug of tea like it was the only warm thing in the room. She said, "You thought I was a way out. I'm not. I'm just a person." I didn't say anything. The next morning, I packed my things and moved into a one-bedroom apartment on the edge of town. Cheap. Basic. Month-to-month lease. No furniture except a borrowed couch and a folding table I bought off Craigslist. I started running in the mornings. Not far, just around the block at first. Then a mile. Then 2. I didn't time it. I didn't track anything. I just ran until I couldn't think anymore. Work became the only thing I still did right. I showed up. I stayed late. I didn't talk much, but I got everything done. My boss offered me more hours. I took them. Anything to keep from going home. Owen came over once a week. We watched movies. Played video games. Ate frozen pizza. He didn't ask about the divorce. I didn't offer anything. We just sat there quiet. Sometimes he'd fall asleep on the couch and I'd carry him to the bed. Those were the only moments I felt anything close to whole. Lily didn't come. Didn't call. Didn't write. I sent her birthday cards. Graduation gifts. Emails she didn't answer. The silence hurt more than I expected. I thought if I gave them space, they'd come back around. But space just made it easier to disappear. One day, I saw Kate at the grocery store. We locked eyes in the frozen foods aisle. She was with Owen. I waved. She didn't. Just walked past. Owen gave me a quick, guilty look. That night, I got a text, "Maybe don't show up like that." I replied it wasn't on purpose. No answer. Danielle moved not long after. Said she took a job out of state. Sent one last message, "Take care of yourself." That was the last time I heard from her. And just like that, the 2 lives I tried to juggle were both gone. What I had left was this: a small apartment, a quiet job, a son who spoke less each time I saw him, and a daughter who didn't speak at all. Some nights I'd wake up at 3 a.m., sit on the edge of the bed, and wonder how it all collapsed so fast. But the truth is it didn't. It was slow. Just 1,000 little things I ignored until the whole thing came down on top of me. And now here I was. Right in the middle of the mess I made. Tom started to move different after the dust settled. The divorce was final by spring. I didn't go to court, neither did Kate. The lawyers handled it. I got a PDF in my inbox, subject line, final decree. I opened it, scanned it, closed it, didn't even save a copy. Just didn't want to look at it again. I moved into a smaller place closer to work. One bedroom barely furnished. A mattress on the floor, a lamp, a second-hand couch I found online. Didn't feel like home. Just felt like a space I was allowed to exist in. Owen stopped coming around. At first it was little things. He's got a group project or he's not feeling well. Then nothing. No calls. No visits. I texted every week. Sometimes Kate answered, short and cold. Most times she didn't. Lily was still a ghost. I sent money when I was supposed to. Helped with some college paperwork she emailed. Once she texted, thanks, after I signed a loan form. That was the most I heard. I kept running. 3 miles, then 5. Then 6. I didn't talk to anyone. Didn't join a gym. Just ran sidewalks and back roads with a worn-out playlist in my ears. Spring turned to summer. The trees changed. I kept going. At work, I got promoted. Regional logistics manager. More pay. More travel. More silence. I took it without thinking. Signed the papers. Packed a suitcase. Started flying twice a month. Chicago. Louisville. Columbus. All the same. Every airport looks the same when you've got no one waiting on the other end. In June, Lily graduated. Kate sent a text, ceremony is the 12th, 3 p.m. That was it. I showed up. Sat in the back. Watched my daughter cross the stage and didn't clap. Didn't want to make a scene. She didn't look at me. Afterward, I waited by the parking lot, hoping for a chance to talk. She walked out with her friends. Saw me. Paused. I waved. She walked over. Hey, she said. Hey, I said back. I'm proud of you. She nodded. Thanks for coming. And that was it. She turned and left. I got in my car. Drove home. That night, I didn't drink. Didn't eat much either. Just sat on the edge of the bed for an hour staring at the floor. I didn't cry. That part was over. I just felt hollow. Melissa Danielle, I kept calling her Melissa in my head after she moved, never reached out again. I didn't either. I thought about it. Started to type something more than once. But I didn't know what I was even hoping to say. What could I say? I ruined everything. You were part of that. Didn't seem fair to drop that on her. Sometimes, in the middle of a flight or sitting in a hotel room in some gray town, I'd wonder if she ever looked me up. If she still had that photo of the Fox mural. If she ever thought about me. Sometimes I hoped she didn't. I tried therapy. 1 session. HR recommended someone after a routine check-in. She asked me why I was there. I said, because everyone thinks I should be. She asked, what do you want to change? I said everything. She smiled like that was normal. I didn't go back. By the end of the year, my apartment looked the same as the day I moved in. No pictures. No decorations. I had a stack of unread mail on the counter and 1 fork in the drawer. That's all I really used. On Christmas, I sent the kids gifts. Gift cards, nothing personal. Didn't know what they liked anymore. Didn't hear back until New Year's. Kate messaged, they arrived. Thank you. That was all. No photos. No calls. I didn't expect any. Didn't deserve any. The nights were quiet. Most days I ran. Worked. Ate alone. Slept light. Somewhere in all of it I stopped checking Facebook. Stopped looking at my phone unless it buzzed. Stopped trying to fix what had already broken. I just let the silence stretch. And after a while it stopped feeling like punishment. It just felt like life. It's been a few years now. I don't count the days anymore. Don't keep track of when the divorce was final or the last time I saw Danielle or when exactly Lily stopped texting. It all just folds together into one long stretch of quiet. I still run. Every morning. Even in the cold, even in the rain. I've worn through 3 pairs of shoes since I started. My knees aren't great, but I keep going. It's the only time my head goes quiet. Owen's in his senior year now. I get updates through the school emails I'm still copied on. Honor roll. Track team. He doesn't come by anymore. Doesn't answer when I call. I leave voicemails sometimes. Just say hi. Say I'm proud of him. Say I'm here if he needs anything. He hasn't needed anything in a long time. Lily's in college out of state. I help with tuition. We don't talk. Not really. Every now and then she sends something school-related. Financial forms. Textbook receipts. I pay it, send a note that says love you. She never replies. I keep sending them anyway. Not because I think it'll fix things. Because it's all I can still do. Kate remarried last year. I saw it on a coworker's Facebook. A small ceremony at some winery. The kids were in the pictures. Smiling. She looked happy. Peaceful, even. I didn't feel angry. Or jealous. Just distant, like I was looking at a movie I didn't audition for. I don't date. People ask sometimes, guys at work, my neighbor. I shrug, say I'm busy. Truth is, I'm not interested. Not in starting something else. Not in trying to explain myself. Melissa never reached out again. Last I heard she was living in North Carolina. Still freelancing. Still doing fine. I think about her sometimes. About how simple it all seemed at the beginning. Just a message. Just a coffee. Just someone who saw me. But it wasn't simple. And it wasn't her fault. It was mine. I broke something that had taken years to build. And once you break it, it doesn't come back the same. You can patch it. Paint over it. But it's never what it was. I don't blame Kate for shutting the door. I don't blame the kids for keeping their distance. I made my choices. No one forced me. Now I live with what's left. A job that pays well. A routine that keeps me upright. A life with space in it. A lot of space. Sometimes I go days without saying more than 10 words outside of work. Sometimes I don't mind. Other times I do. But I keep going. I run. I show up for work. I send birthday cards. I check the mail. I take care of what's mine, even if what's mine now is mostly empty rooms and quiet mornings. This isn't a redemption story. There's no moment where it all comes back together. No dramatic reunion. No second chance that makes it worth it. It's just what happened. And now it's what is.